My PlayStation's being slow.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live here for week 3 of college game day. Slick, or Zachary, however you want to be called, why don't you tell them where we're at?
Yeah, we are here in Bama for the matchup between, let me go find it real quick. The
Alabama versus Florida State.
The 15th ranked Florida State Seminoles traveling to Alabama to play the, well, you know, the Tide, because they didn't need no introduction. Alright, well, I guess we're gonna kind of start, we're gonna go a little different this week. We're gonna actually recap week 2, you know, some of the games that happened last week that we had previewed, and we'll get started with, we will start with the, you know what, we're gonna go start with, we'll start with Florida, Colorado. So, as you see here, Florida ended up traveling to Boulder, and it wasn't really even close. I mean, Florida showed why they're a top 10 team. I mean, they beat Colorado 42-14 in Boulder. So, Bogan, what are some key takeaways that you saw in this game, considering from Florida and Colorado?
Well, the first thing you got to look at is the defense that Florida showed. Sean John, you know, the sophomore quarterback for Colorado, had 6 interceptions that game. Didn't even hit a 50% completion percentage, which is just something you can't be having, especially when you're not even sacked once. You know, that shows that you're having at least some sort of time in the pocket, and the fact that you throw 6 picks is just not a good thing. Now, they did have a great receiving day to Colorado, but at least from star running back in Isaiah Augustave. But then you go look at Florida, and you see they had 3 different quarterbacks play this game. DJ Lagway did not have himself a good day. Let's just put that front and center. DJ Lagway, 3 picks. So, clear a bunch of turnovers between both teams, but when it all came down to was just the defense. You go look at what Florida did on defense. Only had 1 touchdown on defense, and then just phenomenal altogether, though. Like, if you're forcing 6 interceptions, you're doing something right. And as you've seen, you know, they won by a completely just downright awful margin of, what, 28?
Yeah, I mean, you know, like you said, I mean, you look at quarterback stats, not really a great. I mean, you throw 6 picks in a you know, collegiate NFL game, you're not really gonna win very many games. And same with Florida. DJ Langway, 51 yards, 3 picks, was 6 of 19, and heck, even Florida's freshman quarterback showed some you know, some pretty nice improvement. I mean, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 200 yards on 9 of 19, and then even another freshman, Javier Wiles, came in through 2 passes for a touchdown. And then, yeah, it was really the defense of Florida, 6 picks, you know, 42-21. That second quarter really, I would say, was the turning point. I mean, you look at the first quarter, Colorado was hanging in there, but second quarter, Florida really pulled away. So, I'm going to send it over to Gavin, and what are kind of his thoughts on the Florida-Colorado game?
Well, Florida looked like they're back to where they left off last year with the dominant win. But compared to last year, like y'all pointed out, the quarterback problem. The only person who had a good day was Wiles, and he threw 3 passes. Now, whether that is a issue or if that is a flat-out quarterback issue, but if he wants to get back to where he was last year, that quarterback problem has got to be fixed. Also, I just want to point out, Cormani McLean had a day against Colorado with 2 interceptions, 3 deflections, and to clarify, the defensive touchdown was Colby Collins, the left end.
That is true, and we're gonna send it So, Boger, we're going to kind of look forward for, more specifically, Colorado, because Florida, you know, I mean, they're pretty much leaving off where they left off last year. So, going forward for Colorado, what do you want to see from, specifically the quarterback, considering Sean John threw 6 picks against the Gators defense?
Well, if you're Colorado, you have, and specifically at quarterback, like you said, he's going to have to fix that turnover problem. If you want to be able to do anything this season, you've got to be able to fix that. You cannot be going out every week and throwing 4, 5, 6 picks. Good news for them, from what I can see, they are on bye this week. So hopefully they can go in the practice and they can fix that problem. But if not, it's going to be a long, long season for fans down there in Boulder.
Yeah, indeed. And Gavin, anything you want to see from the Buffaloes going forward after the Florida game?
Like Boger said with the turnovers, but also I want them to keep up with what they did in this game. Because if you look at the box score, they dominated Florida on offense. The turnovers was the problem. But granted, they don't have a rushing game. But in total, they had more offensive total yards than Florida did. But their rushing game, they had 99 less yards than Florida did. So that's got to be fixed for them to beat Florida. Because Florida, they're known for stopping the pass in this dynasty. The run game, not so much.
Alright, yep, and moving on. I mean, 434, you know, that's good, but like Gavin said, the turnovers, I mean, 6 turnovers is not what you want from Colorado. Alright, next game that we're going to talk about here is, this one was kind of under the radar of a sneaky game. We're going to go over here to Lincoln, Nebraska, as you see here, Gavin's Vols ended up winning here in Lincoln, which I believe me and Boger ended up taking Nebraska. I took Tennessee. So, Boger, what are your thoughts on, I would say, a big win for the Vols, considering they traveled all the way to Nebraska and beat the Cornhuskers by, I mean, a lot of points, 49-24, as you see here in the box score.
And if you go look at it, you know, it was just all run game, really. They ran 43 times for 300 yards, just about, had 6 touchdowns. I'm pretty sure I didn't see Nico. Pretty sure Nico didn't even throw for one. Yeah, Nico didn't even throw 1 touchdown this week. Matter of fact, he threw 2 picks. So, if you're Nebraska, I'm thinking you got to go and work on that ground defense. But if you're Tennessee, if you can keep this type of numbers up throughout the whole season, oh my God, you are going to be elite. You cannot beat someone that's, you know, winning that kind of ground battle like that, where they're getting nearly 300 yards in a single game. But Nebraska looked okay. Very similar on total offense, but they just could not complete. Could not compete, sorry. Passing was awful. Dylan Raiola looked like a clown. It looks like he also got hurt, but it's just, I don't know, man.
Fun fact, I bet that was in there. He got injured with 2 minutes to go in the first quarter.
There you have it. I'm actually gonna, you know, sit here and talk with Gavin since he did play this game. Gavin, what are your, I mean, you pretty much ran the ball. I mean, you 360 yards, like Boger said. So, was that your game plan going into this game against the Cornhuskers, or were you hoping that Nico could get, you know, going in the passing game? I mean, 5 for 16 is not great for a junior quarterback.
The game plan going into the week was, we gotta find an offensive identity, because last year we didn't have that. Because 1 week in Nico would have a bombshell of a game and just have a 7 touchdown game. The next week he'd have a 5 interception game. So we needed to find a true identity. And we came in, we swung the ball early, and obviously miserably failed. So, we threw 1 pass in 3 quarters. Fun fact. And we dominated from there. I also want to say, Nebraska's quarterback, good God almighty, he needs to start for an SEC school.
Yeah, very good point there, Zach. Actually, you see here, Boger, very impressive. You go look at Tennessee on the defensive side of the ball. Caleb Herring had 30 sacks. That's, I mean, you know, he is a senior, but, I mean, 30 sacks for one player in a game is pretty crazy, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, they did have 7 sacks in total during that game. You know, it's pretty crazy to get that. Something you don't see a lot anymore is a quarterback getting taken down that many times. Herring's been great. You know, he's got that quick jump ability and he's got gold on it, so he's going to be a really great player, especially as a speed rusher.
And before we finish up here, what are you know, as we go looking forward into the season, what do you want to see more, or what do you want to, you know, see Tennessee continue to do more as we go into this, as we continue going through the season?
In the words of the great Bengal, run the damn football.
Okay, and what about Nebraska? I mean, I don't really know. In my opinion, they need to run the ball. I mean, you have 18 carries for 26 yards. That's not going to win you football games.
Well, the first thing is...
I can answer this in one sentence. Fix their D-line. It is horrible.
Oh, okay, there you have it.
I would say one thing you got to do is pray to God that Dylan Raiola is okay. He is that team's offense. If Dylan Raiola is done, they might be done. He is way too good to be out for a while for them.
Yeah, indeed. We're gonna move on to our next game here. We're gonna go down here to let me find it. Down here to Lawrence, Kansas is the 7th-ranked Missouri Tigers. Tigers went and traveled down to not very far from Missouri, Columbia. They went and traveled down to Lawrence. So, Bobby, your thoughts and, you know, kind of key takeaways of Missouri. I wouldn't say dominating Kansas. Kansas kept it close for the most part. I mean, the 3rd quarter and 4th quarter showed, but other than that, what are your thoughts and takeaways?
Well, I'll say I had it Kansas by 3, but if you remember, I also said don't be surprised if Missouri pulls out a blowout. And looking at the end of it there, it seems like it started to turn to that. You go look at the stats. Tony Ernster played okay for a sophomore, I guess. But the rest of the team just did not look that great overall. Starting running back of Harry Stewart only had 41 yards and 17 carries. That's not going to win you a football game ever. If your running back's doing that, you better pray to God that the pass game's working well, and it did not. And then you go look at Missouri, perfection. Absolute perfection. 17 for 20, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers, a 249.2 passer rating. You cannot play better than that, and Sam Horn looked like he deserves the Heisman in that game. Not to mention Ryan Wingo, who we all know is a phenomenal player, had himself a complete day. 4 touchdowns, all 4 to passing touchdowns, and 140 yards on 8 catches. And then their running game looked phenomenally better than their counterparts of Kansas, who starting running back averaged 2 yards a carry, just over 2 yards a carry. Tavares Jones basically doubled it. He went for 4 for 22 and 87. So it seems like it was a game at the line of scrimmage that Missouri won by a lot.
All right, and Gavin, what are your thoughts and takeaways on Missouri and Kansas?
It's about what I expected and I predicted in last week. But altogether, Kansas, the score might not prove it, but I truly think that it was a beatdown. Kansas did not have an answer for anything Missouri did. And that's just to show Kansas have a lot of work. Their quarterback, he's good. but he's very raw at the same time. Ever since week 1 of last year, his first start, he's been very up and down. He's got the talent, it's just putting it together. Outside the pass rush for Kansas, the defense is garbage. And one last thing, the interception that was picked off for your quarterback, his name is Brayshawn Littlejohn. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, as you mentioned, yeah, Kansas does have a couple studs. They have a 5-star sophomore, Nathan Couch, who's been great. Sophomore redshirt Graydon Grimes, who had a good game. And then he was pretty quiet, but Dekias Brinkley, the leader of the defense, junior, you know, I mean, he had 6 tackles, 2 TFLs. And yeah, so Boger going, you know, like kind of with Tennessee, what does Kansas need to do to make sure that they can continue to win games and not have a down year? Kind of go back to what they did season 1 when they had Jalen Daniels and Devin Neal on offense.
Well, first of all, I'd have to say for Kansas, you got to pray that O-line develops. That's a very young O-line, and they've got a lot of raw talent. They just don't have that talent right now. They got a lot of potential to them. It's just they're not going to be doing a whole lot because they're just not as good as they could be right now. So if that O-line can develop well, I think they'll be fine. Right? I really do. Because you go look at Christian Lane, he had 1 carry, but that 1 carry went for 47 yards. And it went to the house on top of that. So I'd start him over Harry Stewart, but it's just you've got to win games in the trenches, and they're not doing that.
All right, and real quick, Kansas does play Middle Tennessee State this week, so do you think Kansas will be pissed off and obliterate Middle Tennessee State, or do you think they might be a little bit of a letdown and keep them in the game?
A blowout.
Okay, and Gavin, what are kind of your keys for Kansas to continue to, you know, kind of improve and, you know, win games as we go on through the season?
I mean, fix the defense. If you can fix the defense and play toward your pace, you're going to win. But on the fact that you play Middle Tennessee State next week, if you don't win that game, you have a major problem.
Okay, personally, being the coach, if we lose to Middle Tennessee State, my whole team will be running suicides the whole practice the following week.
You won't be at practice. You'll be out of town.
Anyway, moving on to the next game.
I think we go to Ann Arbor or Michigan for this one.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, you would be right. We're gonna go to Ann Arbor. This game. You look at the box score, and it was close. You know, going into the 4th quarter, and then Oklahoma just pulled away. And I believe me and you both took Michigan because of their running game. But what are your thoughts and keys on, you know, I would say this big win for Oklahoma, considering they traveled to the #1 team in the country in Ann Arbor and managed to pull the upset.
Yeah, kind of like you said. I said that I feel like that slower pace could kind of fall for Oklahoma a little bit, better than it would for Michigan. But from what I'm seeing, it honestly looks like it was a game of defenses, really. Not even a game of runs. It was a game of defensive. Khalid Labor had 4 picks himself, and then you go look at Oklahoma, Jackson Arnold had 3. So it seemed like it was a very much so turnover-prone game. And you go look at the run games between both schools, it honestly looks like Oklahoma wins that, considering Gavin Sawchuk had 142 yards. Dude averaged 8 a pop. Cal DeBoer can't do it all with his legs. He was their leading rusher when it came to carries, and he wasn't that good when he did it. So you've got to focus on that. You got to fix this issue if you're Michigan.
Yeah, and Gavin, what are your, keys and thoughts on Oklahoma, Michigan? Well, okay, I guess we've lost Gavin, so...
Oh, my bad.
Actually...
My bad.
Oh, no, there we go, Key's back. What are your thoughts on Oklahoma, Michigan?
Michigan typically has a loss like this every year, whether it's Ohio State or it's another team, but knowing what Coach Warren and that Michigan team has done, especially last year, I'm confident he will bounce back. But, and this is a big one, if this quarterback plays like this, he might be off the roster by next week. He played bad. I think that might be an understatement. But yeah, he's got to fix that going into next week.
Yeah, all right. And Boga, what do you need to see from Michigan going forward?
Well, anyways, I'll go with my takeaways. From what I'd like to see from Michigan is the fact that quarterback play. I understand dude's a freshman, but he's a redshirt freshman, right? This is his second year. He had time to develop last season, and it does not seem like he's done that based on this game. Only 52% completion percentage, and then throwing 4 picks. You have to be better. You cannot be throwing picks like that. You have to just play better. You got to focus on getting that better, and then if they can do that, I think they'll be fine. This is a Michigan team we all know as well. It's a young team, though. It's just overall an incredibly young team, especially on offense. So similar to what I said with Kansas, you got to pray it develops. If it develops, they're going to be amazing. But if they don't, then, well, you might be out of luck.
All right, and Gavin, any takeaways from Michigan going forward?
That open team, it looks good, but let's see going forward to truly see if it is as far off as it looks.
Game, which actually popped in my mind. Let's go down here over to the Rose Bowl. As you see here, UCLA and San Diego State played a really high-scoring game. So, Boger, what are your thoughts on UCLA?
Just wow. Edward DeMont looked like a Heisman contender. Yeah, he threw 2 picks, but he also threw for 424 yards and 5 touchdowns. And then the run game looked pretty solid as well from what little bit that they actually ran the football. Another thing, though, is feed Braden Pagan the football. 6 catches, 276 yards, 3 touchdowns. That is absolutely disgusting, and if he keeps that up, oh my God, have a field year for UCLA.
Yeah, and very impressive. Gavin, any key thoughts on the Bruins? And yeah, any key thoughts?
Not other than the fact that game scares me with how close it was. But I feel like he'll bounce back.
Okay, and Bog, I'm gonna ask you this question. Considering UCLA is now in the Big Ten, do you think they could be a sleeper in the Big Ten?
Oh, it depends on if they continue to play like they did today. If they do, yes. By a lot, yes. If they don't, then it's not going to be a good year.
All right, moving on. Let's see, what was another game? I mean, I guess we could quickly go over Auburn. I mean, there's really nothing to talk about, but if you want to, you can say something about Auburn.
Typical SEC game.
I mean, first of all, Walker White threw 10 touchdowns.
Let's put it this way: there's a reason this game was only available on streaming.
I agree.
Well, it's getting 509 yards.
And then Georgia, I mean the defending champs, proving why.
It's blue or change the color to
With 70-6 over Western Kentucky. And you know, since we're in Bama, let's talk about Bama's game against USF. Boga, what are your thoughts on? I would call this game close, considering I mean you did play South Florida and you're Bama. So what are your thoughts?
Honestly, it doesn't shock me. USF always plays Bama tough. We see it all the time. Every time these two play each other, it's actually a really close game. Lamar Jackson seemed to have himself a field day. So if he can keep that up, I understand he's only a freshman. If he keeps that up, he'll be doing good this year. He'll be doing good things as he develops.
All right, and Gavin, your thoughts on Bama and USF?
That's your turn.
I mean, it doesn't shock me one bit. But yeah, Lamar Jackson. I had questions he related to NFL quarterback Lamar Jackson. But
No, I don't believe so. No.
yeah, there had to be some wider ancestry there. But anyway,
All right.
yeah, we had a great day. They should do great.
Green, Zachary.
Yeah. I don't think. I mean, Washington, Cincinnati. I mean, do we want to talk about that game?
No.
Oh, he skipped you.
Well, let's just get to week 3.
Now,
All right, we're gonna go to week 3.
Now,
Before you get dragged out of the abyss.
Okay.
I think we should talk about the first game on the entire week of Oregon State.
Oregon. Yeah. Yeah. Core Valleys.
Zachary, I'm sorry.
These two games are always, or two teams always love this rivalry. So, what does Oregon have to do to not, you know, fall under the trap of the Beavers?
Red, Zachary.
Well, we always know Oregon State plays Oregon really tight. It's going to be a really big battle of can Oregon State's offense keep up with Oregon's defense. Oregon has one of the better defenses in the entire country. And if they can't, then it's not going to be a fun day if you're an Oregon State fan. If they can, then keep close tabs on that game if they can.
And Gavin, your thoughts on Oregon and Oregon State?
This is a game for Oregon to prove what they are worth. It's on the road in a tough rivalry game. If he can win this game and gain momentum both winning and in the recruiting trail, I truly believe that Oregon will be back and be back stronger than ever.
Okay, yep, and yeah, I'm on the same boat. I mean, this is kind of a prove-it game for Oregon if they can get back into it. But yeah, I wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't surprise me. Now, Boga, I'm gonna ask you this. It wouldn't surprise me. Do you think Oregon State could pull the upset?
I mean, I think they could. Like I said, Oregon State always plays Oregon tough. Two huge rivals that don't want to lose to each other. So I think Oregon State's going to play them really tough, but I do think Oregon's going to come out with the win.
You quit changing it to that
A score prediction for Oregon State?
I think it'll be about a 10 to 14 point game.
Okay. Gavin, your prediction?
56-38.
Ooh, wow, very high scoring. I'll go 28-24 Oregon. Alright, you know, this game kind of pops in my mind. I mean, I know it's not a user versus user, kind of a CPU game, but let's talk about it real quick. You know, you got 9th ranked NC State traveling to Nashville and Vandy, and Vandy's kind of maybe been on the rise, so what are your thoughts, Boger, on NC State Vandy?
Well, NC State, I've played them twice now. They're not good. They might be a high rank. They're not good. Do I think they're winning? Yeah. Do I think they're good? No. I think Vandy's honestly going to get obliterated, but they have been on the rise, like you said. It's just tough when you're in the SEC with just some amazing schools. It really is. Same type of boat with NC State, but you know, it's not going to be a close fight.
All right, Gavin, and your thoughts? I mean, you are rivals with Vandy being over there in Tennessee, so your thoughts on Vandy, NC State?
I hope Vandy wins this game, even though they're my rival, like for very long. But at the end of the day, NC State dog walk them. Yeah, that's enough said.
All right. Well, there you have it, and another interesting one. This is USA versus CPU. You got Missouri coming off that big win against the Jayhawks. I'm traveling to Champaign, Illinois, against the Illini Bogers. So
Missouri's gonna dog walk them on to the next one.
Yeah, seriously, they're gonna dog walk.
On to the next one. Next game we got. Let's talk some. You know what? Let's talk Utah TCU. Utah. We were there last week for game day against Arkansas. So Boger, going into this game, what do you expect from Utah and TCU?
I don't expect the game to be played.
Yeah. Next sentence.
Yeah, I was just gonna skip that game. Fuck this.
Let's talk about Notre Dame Purdue.
Yeah, Notre Dame Purdue.
It's a huge rivalry game. Everyone knows that. Purdue typically tries to play Oregon. I'm still thinking of the other game. Purdue still tries to play Notre Dame close. And it's at West Lafayette. So, could be a bit closer than people expect. I still think Notre Dame's going to come out on top. Notre Dame's just a better school. Always have been. If this was a game of the SATs, I think Purdue would win that one. But
we all know Barber, but
Blue. What? Blue, yeah. Gavin, your thoughts on Notre Dame Purdue?
Dog walk.
Okay. You know, another rival that, you know, I think is an underrated rivalry. Let's talk Apple Cup, Washington State. Boger, we'll start with you here with the Apple Cup between the Huskies and the Cougars.
Washington's coming into this game with a lot of momentum. They're a decently ranked school. I just don't think Washington State's going to be able to keep up with them. I really don't. Washington's way too good for them to be able to keep up. And we've seen a lot out of Washington so far this season, and a lot of good things out of Washington. You know, they played a tough Missouri school week 1, where they only lost by 14. And then they won last week, and I think they're going to keep that up with this game against Washington State.
All right, Gavin, your thoughts on Washington and Washington State?
I'm with Boger on this one. I feel like it'll be close in the beginning. The offense will click, and they'll run off. Backups might even get some decent playing time.
Alright, and yeah, I'm kind of with you guys. I think Washington is gonna win, so... I do think it'll be close in the first half, but I think Washington pulls away in the second half. Next one, you know, this one I think could be maybe a trap game. You got third-ranked USC traveling to Ole Miss. Big Ten, you know, classic Big Ten versus SEC. Boger, what are your thoughts on the Trojans and the Rebels?
Boger, say what you want to
Oxford, so.
Say it.
USC's gonna blow them out the fucking water.
Yeah, dog walk. Next.
Yeah, next game.
Sorry, Ole Miss.
Next game.
I understand y'all love y'all school, but y'all are getting blown out.
Yeah, Ole Miss hasn't really been good since Jackson Dart left.
Yes.
Anyway, moving on, you know, bigger game, you know, fans here in Bama aren't going to like this team, as you know, neither, I don't think, is Gavin, but I don't know if he's showing bias or not, but you got the second-ranked Georgia Bulldogs, 2-0, coming off a, you know, dominant win against Western Kentucky, 70-6. Traveling to Louisville, Kentucky to face the 0-1 Cardinals, 21st ranked in the country. So, Boger, what are your thoughts, opinions, and, you know, kind of predictions for this game?
Let's put it this way. Louisville is not what they've been the last 2 years. Georgia is coming off a 64-point win. This is a dog walk.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Same thing with the Arizona A&M game. A&M's good dog walking.
Yeah, boys. Yeah, I agree. Georgia
I'm sorry
should...
for this short show that we're probably gonna have this week, boys.
Yeah,
this is just not a great slate of games.
But
it really isn't.
Don't worry. The next couple weeks will be jam packed with.
Oh, the next week's even worse, but after that it gets better.
Yeah, after that it gets better. I mean, we'll just get to the main game really, and then we'll kind of go over some other things. Let's talk 15th ranked Florida State. You know, coming here to Bama against the Tide, who I would say since Nick Saban retired, really haven't done much in this dynasty. Considering, you know, we've had Bama users leave and, you know, rejoin and leave. So, Boger, we're gonna start with you. What going into this game? What do you need to see from Florida State and Bama both for one of them to win?
I think it's going to be a really close game. I really do. These are both two really good schools, two solid coaches. And for me, honestly, this is a great look to see what Florida State has, with me being in the ACC against them. This is the first time I've really seen Florida State have any kind of chance at anything in this dynasty, and I feel like because of that, I feel like Florida State's going to play them really, really close, and I honestly think Florida State might come out with the win.
Ooh, wow. That crowd's, as you can hear, they're not happy with that pick behind us, but, Gavin, what are your thoughts? Because, you know, you play Bama pretty much almost every year with, you know, the Vols and the Tide being a rival, so what do you kind of expect from the Tide? I mean, are you expecting them to, you know, come out and prove that, you know, they're still the Tide that we knew with Nick Saban, or do you think they might be sleepwalking on Florida State and are in a trap game?
This is going to be a good game at the end of the day, but Alabama, they're the better team historically. They're the better team probably user-wise. They're the better team roster-wise. And they're at home. But I'm Tennessee. I can't pick Alabama. I got Florida State winning this game.
All right, and you know, I won't clear the board. Give me Bama. Give me Bama at home. I think Bama does win. I think it'll be a close game, but give me Bama.
Bama sucks.
They have it. We can talk quickly some other games. I mean, Western Michigan at Tennessee. I don't really think there's nothing to talk about, but
Dog walk.
Tennessee, I believe the spread going into this game was Tennessee by 45.
I've taken the under, but
I mean, you see UNC
What was the spread for
UConn,
what's the spread for our game?
32.5.
Oh, give me the over.
yeah,
I believe the Kansas spread is Kansas by 40.
I give me the over because you don't know what we're in the football.
Okay. So some other things we're gonna go look at the top 25. I mean, I know we haven't quite simmed yet, but we can kind of look after week 2 and kind of, you know, see where teams are gonna fall and, you know, what teams are gonna move up. So Boger, any teams you expect to fall out or possibly, move their way in? Like, you got Tennessee sitting right there at 26 at 230 votes. Do you think they can get in week 2?
I can't remember. Did they win this week?
Yes, they did. Yeah, 2-0.
Pretty single-handedly.
You know, we're going to go talk about something else real quick. We're going to go talk about Penn State Marshall.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Let's go talk that game, because I forgot that game. Yeah, Marshall, walked into Penn State and decided, we're not going to take it easy. Marshall ended up beating Penn State. So, Boger, what are your thoughts on the Herd coming into Happy Valley, matter of fact, and pulling off the upset against 13th ranked Penn State?
Now, yes, I know this was a week 1 game, but that's after seeing that. I have no hopes for Penn State for this entire season. You can't lose to Marshall. Your quarterback didn't even play bad. He played good. How did you lose this game? I need to know how Penn State lost this game.
Hashtag Marshall national champion.
Yeah. I mean, really, look at the box score. I mean, wow, Marshall actually really offensively, 363 yards to 234. They pretty much. I really got no words. I mean, Gavin, what are your thoughts on really Penn State losing to Marshall?
They suck. They should be relegated. But yeah.
I'm agree with what Boger said. I mean, you can't, being a Big Ten school, especially Penn State, you can't be losing a game to Marshall, especially with how good the Big Ten is with, Michigan, Ohio State, and a couple other schools in there. But yeah, that's a game you can't lose. I mean, the morale's going to be down now in Happy Valley, and I don't really see Penn State bouncing back. I mean, unless you go, 11-1 the rest of the year, I don't really have much hope for Penn State.
Yeah. Pretty embarrassing. Also, I have confirmation. It does seem as if we are going to get the Utah-Arkansas game going here very shortly.
Alright, there you have it. We will give you, hopefully, an update here as that game gets going underway in just a few minutes. We're going to kind of look... we're going into the conference standings here, and we'll kind of look at some teams that, are surprising, in each conference, and teams that are kind of, been disappointing. So, Boger, we'll start in your conference since you are in the ACC. What team surprises you out of the gate, and what team has been disappointing?
A team that surprised me out of the gate is Wake Forest. They're already 1-0 in conference. Hey, if the season ended today, Wake Forest would be in the conference championship game. So they've kind of surprised me so far. Same with Pitt. Pittsburgh's been pretty good, and I think that they'll continue to be good. What's shocked me though is the fact that Miami seems to not be as great right now.
All right, and Gavin, what's your surprise and disappointing team in the ACC so far? As Gavin seems to have...
Miami.
Oh, Miami? Okay. And yeah, I would agree, Wake Forest has been surprising. I would say Cal has been a little surprising. I mean, they really haven't done much since being in the ACC, but they're a little surprising, so I'm interested to see how the rest of... I'm interested to see if Wake Forest can keep it up as we go. American, Boger, I know we talked with this conference last week, with North Texas, Rice, and Temple, but any other surprising team on your mind?
Just those three. Just those three alone.
That's three, okay. Gavin, what about you? I agree. I agree with what Boger said. North Texas. I mean, the fact that you have 3 American schools ranked inside the top 25, that's...
2 of them inside the top 20.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Boger, but I always love seeing, non-Power 5 schools getting love in the votes, so... Alright, Big 12. Big 12, any, Boger, thoughts on the Big 12? Surprising, disappointing team so far?
What surprises me is Kansas does not look good. That and then their rivals Kansas State looks amazing so far. So, you know, it's kind of interesting.
The defense for Kansas is questionable. Offensively, they shouldn't be a problem, but defensively, like what Gavin said earlier, if the Jayhawks don't fix their defense, I'm not sure Kansas will be doing very well. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Kansas State looks good. I mean, I don't know who they played week 1, but they look good. Big Ten, honestly, my surprise right now, Northwestern.
I would have to say Tulane.
Tulane? Oh, I forgot Tulane. Yeah, Tulane's in the Big Ten now. That is right. Gavin, what about you? Big Ten thoughts?
I forgot that conference even existed.
Well, there you have it. Conference USA.
They have three out of the top 5. The fuck you mean?
It's SEC or bust.
Okay.
Conference USA, I mean, Boger liked, I think, who was it? You liked Liberty, I believe, in this conference?
I did say Liberty. Liberty was my #1 pick for them, as well as Jacksonville State.
Alright. FBS, we don't need to talk about independent schools. Sorry, independent schools.
Oh, Halo!
The MAC, I believe, Boger, you did like, I believe Bowling Green was one of your picks. I believe Central Michigan was another one of your picks as well.
They were. Bowling Green was one of my big picks for this conference. It was Western Michigan that I had the other one.
Yeah, Western Michigan down there at the bottom. Yeah.
I'm about to clap that in this week.
Mountain West. Charlotte. I mean, I know we both agreed on Charlotte. I believe we both picked Charlotte at Boise for this conference.
Yeah, I picked Fresno to win this conference.
Oh yeah, Fresno. Fresno or Charlotte, I believe, are like the best two.
Fresno's 85 over.
Yeah.
Pac-12. Like we said last week,
irrelevant.
If the Pac-12 had, you know, the original teams we talk about, SEC. This is Gavin's conference. So Gavin, what are like surprise team to begin the year and kind of a disappointing team throughout?
Surprise team early on. Honestly, I don't want to say myself, but that's only logical. And the discipline team, it has to be the Florida Gators.
I would agree. You were expecting me to an at this point.
I would honestly agree with that. I mean, Florida should be, you know, unexpected loss, and then, you know, they beat Colorado. So yeah, I would agree. Most surprising team for me, I guess I'll say Mississippi State, considering they won 17-10. I don't know who they played, but they've never been good, so I guess Mississippi State is my surprise. Maybe Ole Miss too, considering Ole Miss hasn't really been good. But Sunbelt.
Where did Coastal Carolina gain 15 overall from? What?
Wait, what? They were hold on, hold on. They were 68 overall last week. What the hell?
What?
That's weird.
Okay. Oh, maybe they stand a chance.
They just signed half the total.
And then Heisman, I know we went over this briefly, but I mean, no changes so far. Ruben Owens. I do like what Boger said last week. I do like Avery Johnson being in here. I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12 and in the whole country, so I think he could be in there. Carnell Tate, he's a sneaky one. I could see him winning it, and then Dylan Edwards, and don't know how a Minnesota guy's in here, but
I'm not gonna lie, this Heisman list, it's cooked.
We will obviously have to wait until, you know, we actually sim to next week to see if it's updated, but what else should we talk about?
I mean, there's not much to talk about. I think we're done.
We'll look at some stats from, like, teams, I guess. Yeah, sorry guys. There's really nothing else to talk about. I mean, this week of college football is just really not.
It's a shitty week. Say it how it is.
Week 5.
I will
and,
say, now this is a bit biasness. If Connor Harrell can continue to play how he's been playing so far this season, he'll expect to see his name in the Heisman race.
I will say though, in the upcoming weeks, we do have some good games coming up. I'm not going to spoil, but week 5 we have some banger games coming up in week 5, so stay tuned.
Oh, it's good. Oh, I forgot Arch Manning's on Rice.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's another. Oh yeah, the news. Arch Manning is not on Texas, so nice. I completely forgot that he wasn't even on Texas.
Yeah, Arch Manning has had transferred this past season. He went here. So far, he's been looking okay.
Ooh, actually, you know what? Here's something we could do. We could go over some team schedules and figure out, like, you know, their win-loss total. So, I guess, since, well, I'm on here, we'll look at Kansas' schedule. They got Middle Tennessee State, Georgia State, then a bye week. Then they start Big 12 play. So, Bogu, what's the ceiling for Kansas and what would be the floor for the Jayhawks?
It's tough to say, really. I'd say their floor. They got some really tough games with, you know, Kansas State, Utah. I'd say their floor would have to be 7-5. I'd say their floor is 7-5. I could see them going, you know, at best 10-2.
Okay, and any specific reason why 7-5?
Just the tough games between Utah, TCU, Kansas State, and honestly, even BYU.
Yeah, and I mean ASU can be a sneaky good game too. Gavin, you're you know, floor and ceiling for the Jayhawks.
6-6 and 9-3. And 9-3 is it. Get your crap together.
Okay. We'll go down here. We'll go to Michigan, because Michigan has an interesting schedule. They play UTEP this week, Purdue, then they start Big Ten play with a couple key games, Penn State, Oregon, and then obviously the Ohio State game at the end. So Boger, what's your floor? What's the ceiling for Michigan, and what's the floor for Michigan?
I'd say my ceiling for Michigan would be, you know, 11-1 and winning the conference. My floor, though, for them, I could easily see them losing 5 games in this conference. I really could.
So
I could see them losing to Penn State. Could
11-1.
easily see them losing to Oregon. Could easily see them using the Ohio State. You know, there's some really tough games.
Yeah. Gavin, your prediction for the Wolverines? I'll give mine. Mine, I think, kind of what Bogu said. 11-1. I think they could win out the rest of the year. I could also see them, like what Bogu said, losing to Oregon, considering that game is in Eugene. That's always a tough place to play. Obviously, the Ohio State game, and maybe the Illinois game. Another team, Missouri, because I know Missouri's been talked about a lot. Looking at Missouri, they traveled to Illinois bye week. Then they started a really tough SEC schedule, starting with Georgia and then Florida. So, Boger, what's the expectation, like ceiling and floor level for the Tigers?
Honestly, I say the ceiling's going to be 9-3. With ease, I see them losing to Georgia and Florida back-to-back. They're both away games in Athens and Gainesville. And I see them also losing to Arkansas. I understand it's a home game for them. I see them losing it. Their floor, though, I could see them, like I said, losing to Georgia, Florida, Arkansas. I could see them losing to Texas, Tennessee. I could easily see them finishing at 7-5. Easily.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the SEC is by far, you know, the toughest conference. I agree with you. Georgia, Florida, those are both. You know, if they were at home, I would consider them beating Georgia and Florida, but because you're playing in Athens and you're playing at the Swamp. That's, gonna be a tough game. And you can't forget they also play LSU in Death Valley. That's always, you never want to go play there. But I don't think they lose to LSU. And I think they could lose to Arkansas as well. So I'm gonna agree with you on that one. Gavin, what about you? Oh wait, Gavin's not here.
Yeah, sorry. My mic just cut out mid-sentence.
What's your ceiling or floor for Missouri?
Missouri? Oh man. I mean the ceiling's 12-0. The floor. Let's see.
And consider they play Georgia and Florida back-to-back on the road.
I think they're gonna win one of the games.
Okay.
They play me at their house. And who knows where I get will go.
I could see them losing to. I
think the floor. I think the floor is 8-4.
Okay. Ooh, here's one. Where is? We'll talk UNC. I mean, UNC. You look at it. We'll go to Boger. Considering this is your team. What's your ceiling and floor for your Tar Heels?
Well, honestly, you go look at the ACC. I have one of the easier schedules this season, so I could easily see me going undefeated, or I could see me losing to Notre Dame. I could see me losing to SMU. I do think I beat Miami, but I'd say either 9-3 or 10-2 or undefeated.
Okay, Gavin. What about you? Mine. Yeah, I mean, the ACC is like so. I could see you going undefeated, or I could see you going. I could see you going 10 to 11 wins at most.
Did you want to say that?
No.
Okay, I said the exact same thing.
Okay, so we basically all agreed. Ohio State. I mean, they kind of have an easy schedule. I mean, prediction for Ohio State. I mean, they kind of have an easy schedule if you look at it. But
11-1.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm in agreement.
That's just it. They're just finishing 11-1.
Yeah, I can say I can agree. I think I think they'll lose the Michigan game this year. Either that, or they'll go lose. Or they will lose to Oregon. I think they lose either Oregon or Michigan.
I agree.
Trying to kind of just kill time. We'll go Tennessee. Boger, Tennessee. You look at it. They play A&M, Auburn, Ole Miss. They have a very tough back half of their schedule. They don't play Bama or Georgia though, so that is something you've got to look out for.
Well, I could see them going 11-1, right? That's what I'm putting their ceiling at. However, I could also see them losing to Missouri. I could see them losing to Auburn. I could see them losing to Texas A&M. I could see them losing to Texas. Could see them even losing to LSU, right? So I'd say their floor is going to be 7-5.
Okay, yeah, I can. I think this team is very. This team is either an 11-win, a 10 to 11-win team, considering on how well they play, or they go like they did last year. They go 7-5 or 8-4. So I'm pretty much in an agreement. What about you, Gavin? Considering you're on the Vols and looking at your schedule, you play A&M at home, you travel to at Auburn, at Texas, you play LSU, at Missouri.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut so I don't jinx myself, so I played the fifth on every count.
Alright, I don't blame you for that one. What's another team?
At this point, people would stop watching because it's just dreadful at this point.
There's really nothing to talk about. I mean, this week is so, kind of dead. It's really...
At this point, people would just ask you to shut up.
I'm just gonna end my stream at this point. There's nothing